Hello and welcome to Max Tech Studio. What I have for you today is this JetKVM. We're going to do a little bit of an unboxing video today, and I'll give you a little demo on how it works. Let's get into it and unbox it first. All right, it comes with a pretty nice pull tab to unbox it. Here's the JetKVM itself. Pretty heavy. And then we have some cables. We got an instruction booklet in here that tells you how to use it. And we have some cables here to hook it up to your various devices. It comes with a full-size HDMI to a mini, which is what this has on it there. As you can see, it plugs right into the mini jack. Comes with a USB-C cable that breaks out into data to go to the device you're controlling, and also for a power adapter, and just in case your device doesn't supply power out the USB port when it's turned off. And then you have a USB cable. It's a USB-C to A adapter. Okay, let's go ahead and get this plugged into a device so I can give you a demo. The first thing we need to do is get a device. What I have here, it's a first generation Zima board. I'm going to be using this for a demo unit, but you could plug it into almost any computer. Let's go ahead and get it plugged in here and see what we can do with it here. Okay, we're going to get the HDMI plugged in, and then we'll plug that into the mini HDMI that's in the unit. Okay, and then next we're going, since this doesn't have any USB-C ports on it, I'll have to use the little adapter. And then I know that this unit does not supply USB power while the unit is off, so I'm going to need to use also the power adapter that came with the unit. So we'll plug this into the USB-C port on the splitter here, and then we'll plug that into the HDMI port on the Zima, or the USB port on the Zima board, and then we'll plug it into the USB-C connector on the JetKVM, like so. Now I just have to get some power on this jack and get some power on the Zima board, and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, now that I've got everything all hooked up, the first thing that the JetKVM did is it went out to my network and acquired an IP address. So let's go ahead and go to that address and take a look at the web interface. Okay, here we are on the web interface. Let's go ahead and say set up your JetKVM. I'm going to go ahead and choose no password. Now ideally you'd probably want to set a password, but I'm not going to right now. I'll set one later once we get this thing all good to go. Okay, now that I've got everything all hooked up, the first thing that the JetKVM did is it went out to my network and acquired an IP address. So let's go ahead and go to that address and take a look at the web interface. Okay, here we are on the web interface. Let's go ahead and say set up your JetKVM. I'm going to go ahead and choose no password. Now ideally you'd probably want to set a password, but I'm not going to right now. I'll set one later once we get this thing all good to go. Okay, now that we're all fired up, let's take a look at some of the features of the JetKVM. Let's get started with the settings. In here you'll find where you can set the language, you can check for updates, you can reboot the device if you need to. In the mouse you can make it so it hides the black cursor, so all you see is, in a case of Windows, it would be a little white cursor. You can reduce the scrolling events, you can invert the scroll, and then you can make it so that it moves the mouse to keep your computer awake. And then there's an input mode here that's, it tells you absolute or relative, whichever you need there. In the keyboard, you can change the keyboard layout. You can also make it, I'll show you this here in a minute, that it does show when you press keys. In the video, I've got this set to high. You can change the codec. Most of this stuff, it'll do all on its own. As far as hardware, you can change the orientation of your display and different things like that. You can make it so that it shuts the screen off on the front of the KVM after 30 minutes, and you can make it so that it dims. You can also set the power saving. You can make it so that if there's nothing coming out on the HDMI port, it automatically goes to sleep. Then you can emulate target USB devices. You can change the class and the identifiers. Okay, now access. Let's see, everything here looks like I don't have a security certificate, so this is disabled. Here's where you can enable your password, your login password if you like. And then it does have a JetKVM cloud if you want to access it remotely. And that means outside of your home network. And then you can change the theme. You can hide the header bar. You can hide the status bar. That's all this stuff, at the top and bottom. You can create macros here, so you can make it so it does certain things. Like when you click a button, it'll do certain things. Here's the MAC address of it. You can change the host name. This is if you want to access it by host name, you'd put the host name .local. And here's where it automatically configures that on your network. And then you can change, and you can set a static IP if you'd rather not have dynamic. And of course, there's IPv6. And then it does have MQTT support, which means you could integrate this into Home Assistant. And then in the advanced, you can make it so it goes in it updates to the developer channel, the developer mode. You can enable that. It'll enable some other features. And then you can restrict it to a local host, and then you can go into troubleshooting, and it'll have some diagnostic stuff. Okay, and in the virtual keyboard, this is where I was saying you could make it so that it shows you what keys. Like if I want to press Control-Alt-Delete in my Windows, I just click the Control-Alt-Delete button, and as you can see, it popped up in the window there. All right, let's get rid of the keyboard here so we can go back. As far as Wake on LAN, that I have that already set up for this computer, which means if it's off, you can click the wake button and it'll wake it up. The virtual media, that's where you can put ISOs, so you can have those accessible at boot. In case you need to reinstall like Windows, you can put the Windows ISO on there, and that will be available when you first boot it up. It'll show up in your boot menu of the BIOS of the computer, and you can select it out of the list, and you can go through and reinstall Windows as if you had it plugged into a USB drive. And then the paste text, you can type text in here and it will paste it into like a search box or something like that. It would be practical if you would like to say you need to copy a URL from your main computer into that box. That would make it pretty easy to do. And it looks like it's pretty responsive. It does have just a tiny little bit of lag, but it's not too bad. As you can see, I'm moving the mouse, and the little white mouse is following me pretty good. It doesn't seem to be too awful laggy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support this channel, there will be a Patreon link in the video description. Thank you and have a good day.